Morning, John.
Phil, how are you, mate?
Fantastic, thank you. Yourself?
You're always good, mate. You know that.
So what shirt have we got on today?
Well, it's a dual-purpose shirt.
Yes. You're not rubbing salt in or anything, are you?
Well, no. I mean, because I'm old school, Phil. I'm coming from the era where you can't buy an all-black jersey.
Yep.
60s, 70s, 80s, you earned that jersey.
Okay.
And you wore one
Yeah.
if you were an all black, or your brother or your cousin
Yeah.
gave you one. You didn't buy one.
Yeah.
So I have never ever bought an all black jumper. 1995, rugby union goes professional.
Yeah.
So now the market's wide open. Adidas has been on board with the All Blacks since 95. This was a gift from one of my nephews, and I'm very proud to wear it. And more so today because, we actually had an emphatic victory on the weekend as opposed to the sort of, very scrambly one last time, which I thought was probably even unjustified. But at the end of the day, on Saturday night, played a brilliant match, won emphatically, but also the black represents our dear friend Press, who we lost last week. Yesterday week ago, so sort of 8 days ago now. It's very tragic, and we were just very fortunate that at Jonesy's party, he came, and we all got to spend some quality time with Press on that night. So we don't feel. I mean, it would have been tragic for most of us. They hadn't seen him for months.
Yeah.
If he just died and sort of in the background somewhere without us anyone being in contact. So I think he loved being there. And we certainly enjoyed his company. He made sure he got around and had a good chat with everyone.
Yeah.
So we understand that the funeral will be next Wednesday, the 5th. Those details are being confirmed tomorrow, so I can't give accurate, but the guesstimate was 12 o'clock on Wednesday the 5th at Sensible Funerals at Reilly. So that's on South Road, just north of Port Road. Yeah. So you can't get there going north. You actually have to come around and come back down the old South Road access lane. But yeah, that's next week, and there'll be a huge roll up. I know, and I know his family have had a lot of feedback. I've had a lot of people call me, and I'm going, well, look, if I knew when it was, I'd tell you. But this is the closest thing I can offer right now. And that's pretty accurate, but it's to be confirmed tomorrow. His family's meeting with the funeral director tomorrow to lock in that time.
Well, even here at Snooker SA, and Fred wasn't part of Snooker SA or the snooker community, but there's been a lot of chat here of Paul and what happened, and they're very sad. And people here asking when the funeral's going to be. So I'm tipping the Cuesport fraternity will turn up.
Well, there'll be Cuesports across the board because he was loved by everyone. Although he only ever played 8 ball, a little bit of American pool, and did actually go to Vegas a few times. So
did won a couple of state titles.
Yes, he did
with
too.
The Iceman in the doubles.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting. He actually, I think he won more than one, didn't he? I think he might have won two or three. Yeah. Because that's right. I mean, Iceman has that's another record. He's got winning the most state doubles with the most different partners.
Yeah.
And he did another one this year. Who did he win with this year? Was it Mikey this year?
No, Mikey, I think.
Yeah.
But so
he did carry a lot of lesser players to a trophy, and now I know that Prez loved that. That Iceman would play with him, and they, as you say, won a couple of state titles. So
sad day,
and as you say, the Cuesport fraternity will turn out on Wednesday as soon as everyone's confirmed. But just a heads up, there's every chance that that time, that date and time I gave you will be accurate. Okay, sorry. As difficult as it is, mate, we've got a job to do.
We have.
Let's go back a couple of weeks then. We had the Scotch doubles. That's American, American 9 ball.
The Australian Open 10 ball and doubles.
Yeah, well, doubles was a 9 ball one, and the Open was 10. Singles was a 10. So we had a lot of guys practicing locally, and the 4 guys that put in the most time and probably are all playing best ended up making the final.
Yeah.
So we had Dave Ewing and Jaden D'Amica, who have both been playing some great pool against James Georgiadis and Mike Cacciola. So wasn't much in. I think went to 7-all before the good boys broke away, and eventually won by Jimbo and Mikey. But all credit to Jados, who really only just started playing the American game the last couple of seasons. So
he has in that Scotch doubles. James and Mikey have gone back to back. They won the one before.
Yeah.
And Jaden was in the final with Daniel. So Jaden's made back to back finals as well.
Yeah.
So, it's obviously becoming a force on it.
Definitely, definitely, and his technique is very sound. Although I think we both think it's too long. Very long backswing, but it works, and we've all tried to sort of get him to abbreviate it. But why change it when it's working?
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is now that both Mikey and Jaden actually work for Adrad with Bobby.
Yeah.
With James Jennings there. So Bobby's been a great supporter of all the lads, and anyone he thinks can be valuable to the business, he's more than happy to give them a chance there. And then a lot of people, I reckon, since Bozzy was there maybe 15 years ago, I reckon we've probably had 20 pool player, snooker player, Cuesport enthusiasts have a job at Adrad, so they've been strong supporters.
There's a player that you probably don't realise though, John, is Peter Panopoulos, who's a HR and recruitment officer, and he also he had recruited for Adrad, so I think there was an influence from Peter Pan as well.
There's every chance, that's right. I can consider that. Peter Pan, I mean, we miss him. I mean, he's great personality in the game. I think we might have mentioned the fact that he's so passionate about his driving now. He's in the Porsche community, or Porsche racing club, and he's got guys driving cars that are 3 times and 4 times more expensive than his that can't touch him.
Yeah, well, he did well on the weekend before Phillip Island.
Yep.
So well done, Panna, and as I said, that connection. Sorry, we got off.
We
connection
digress,
with
but that's
Adrad,
fine.
Adrad would have a very strong pool team if you put them all together.
Yeah, that's right. If they ever had a what would you call it? Corporate league. That'd be very hard to beat. With three powerful players just to kick off their opening play. I mean, I don't know who else is there.
I think Jimbo's connected with them, so now in the batteries.
Yeah, well, no, they're not yet. They're connected, yes, they're connected, but they don't. But he probably could find a way
there, But back to the singles, though, John.
Yes. Okay. So the doubles was well won by Mikey and Jimbo, and then in the singles, not surprisingly, Phil, those 2 guys end up in the final.
Well, if you go back before that, John, you got the semi-finals. You've got Mikey going against Justin Sage.
That's right.
Now, for however good a player Justin Sage is, he just can't get a win in Adelaide.
Yeah.
Maybe it must be the strong players we've got here in Adelaide.
I think so.
It's a very good win on Mikey getting Justin in the semis.
Yeah.
And then in the other semi-final, we had Dave Ewing and
Dave's appeared in both. Yeah, that's right. Both
Jimbo. And prior to the event, Dave Ewing was in here practicing for it, and I spoke to Dave, and he was the most confident I've seen him ever, and he was quite vocal to me that he was going to win this event. And I was really pleased with Dave that he talked the talk and walked the walk, because he's a guy that puts in lots of effort.
Yes.
He's backed it up and made the final of the doubles, and now he's lost in the semi-finals right at the very end to arguably Australia's best player. So Dave Ewing's had a fantastic tournament in making there, but as you said at the beginning of the day, if you were going to pick 2 players in the final, you'd pick Mikey and you'd pick... They
were the favourites. With Dick, probably they were 2 of the 3 favourites.
Yeah.
Justin obviously is in that same class,
yeah.
But just didn't find his rhythm. When I watched the match against Mikey, and he just didn't seem as composed as he normally is, because normally he's fantastic. You've seen him play all the Cuesports. He's very good. But yeah, it just seemed a little bit off his game, and that's all you need to be against these guys now. And then they run over the top of you. And to Mikey's credit, he just kept going. Then they played the final, and heel, Phil.
Yeah.
So amazing. Yeah, this is how closely matched these two guys are. And eventually Timbo gets the result, which is good.
You know what, John, I feel now, James has had this massive potential, and he's had it for a long time, and we've all spoken of what a great player he is. And you know, he wins at 8 ball, he plays at snooker, he does well. It doesn't matter what sport he does well. But to me, he's always struggled to get over the line, and I feel that James winning this tournament could start a pretty good patch for him now, where he could be very hard to beat.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's always been a belief thing. You know, you've been there, Phil. You're a champion over a long period. You knew what it took, and he'd never had that.
Yeah.
You know, he had the skill level. He looked fantastic, and you know, you don't get a name like Showboat for nothing. Loved to move the white around. And a couple of things. I did some commentary in the start of the final, and I noticed that he actually found the middle of the whiteboard several times, which was out of character here. You know, he likes to zing the two cushions with a bit of running side. He hit flat balls a number of times when it was appropriate. And I think he's learning that that's still the way. Sure, you need to have the skill to maneuver the white around the table when you have to, but you must concentrate on the basics. If the basics are sound, you watch all the best 9-ball players in the world. They don't go zinging the white ball around.
No.
They keep it as compact as they can.
Yeah.
Move the white minimal distance.
Stay in control.
Yeah, and give yourself always those sort of half ball angles. So you're always floating around the table back to the next one. You're not trying to force the white ball through or screw it back. Because that, again, lack of control can happen easily when you're trying to play long range snooker, screwback shots. But yeah, I watched them and I'm going, I think maybe he's learning.
Well, I think it's fantastic for James, and I honestly think this is the beginning of a long period of dominance. He's had the skills, and I think now getting over the line, learning to win, he could be very hard to beat moving forward, John. Not that he wasn't anyway, but start racking up some tournaments now.
Yeah, no, it is very good. He's still waiting he's bought a new table. He sold his table a bit prematurely, I thought, but you know, so here he is. He's still waiting. I think it's been 3 months since he sold his table, so spending a lot more time at Empire practicing than he ever used to, because you know, when you got a table at home, why would you? And I played on his table, and I thought it was tight enough. You know, because he was concerned that the Empire tables were a bit generous, and when they are, the 9-ball tables. But his table, I thought, was a pretty good cut, and I played there a few times, and I thought, you know, this is challenging enough.
Well, John, it just shows you his intent, that he's got rid of his table and he's bought a table that the pros are using overseas, which is different to what they're using here in Australia. So he's obviously got some plan and goals and aspirations that he wants to be competing with them players, and he's taking their conditions on. So you can only take your hat off to him. It's a big expense, I hope it all pays off, and he is a quality player, and he is good enough to compete over.
Well, and he's learning to win, as you say, Phil. That's the key. I mean, skill is one thing, and certainly he's been recognised not just here in Australia, but everywhere he's gone overseas. Guys go, wow, how good is this guy? How come he's not winning? You know, and now we're starting to see that maturity. So, and you know, he knows. I mean, his family's right behind him. His dad's a huge supporter. And you know, when he gets his table to be playing on the similar style games, he's fanatical about polishing the balls. But
they're not going to that one.
I know it can be off-putting for some people. I know some of the guys say, "Don't worry, they're fine." No, they got to find. But hey, all credit to him. Well done. I have a couple of players in my Vegas League team. That are also affiliated to Black Ball. And they are going, I believe they're in transit right now, to France. And there's actually 2 Black Ball leagues now, globally. And one was being played in Morocco, and the other one's being played in France. So one thing I do know is that I think the ones that play in the league here we are only affiliated to the one league. I think that's the one that's going to France.
Yeah.
So Charlie Hatton, Michael Swift, Shane Cripps is part of our Masters team to represent us at the Nationals in Albury this year. They're all away, and I know there's a number of players. I mean, Carol Nunn, who's also one of our representatives at the ladies in the ladies 8-ball at Albury this year. I noticed a post from her the other day that she was in transit. I think she was in England and then crossing over to France recently, well, within the next few days.
Yeah.
I imagine most of them will start this week. When we've got the World 8-Ball Federation Championships, which is what we played here with the what we call World Rules from all the way back in '93.
Yeah.
They have their World Championship coming up in Ireland, and this is the first time they've actually moved it out of England. There was a major upheaval at the international AGM a few years ago that said, look, why are we always coming here, and particularly for Australia? We've been going there since '93. I mean, we're talking about Iceman. He spent about 150,000 going backwards and forwards over the years, and the vote was that it's time to move it. Everyone gets an opportunity to put in a bid to host World Championships and to host it in Ireland this year. So.
I'm glad to see they moved it a bit closer, John.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, let's add another plane flight. Let's rather than just go straight to Heathrow and then somewhere. No, we're going to Heathrow, then fly across to Belfast.
Anyway, at least it's moved.
It has moved, and we'll see it moved around more often.
Yeah.
Again, we've got players going there.
We're gonna, in the next few weeks, we're gonna have a few world titles to talk about.
We'll have a number of world titles to talk about, and as they come back, but we're a bit disappointed because both Phil and I tried to find some information about the black ball online, and it was very confusing. So certainly, anyone out there that's got some information in the next couple of weeks, please forward it on to either Phil or myself, so we can bring people up to speed. It seems like most of the feedbacks come through personal Facebook pages at the moment. So, that's probably about it on the 8-ball front. Both the summer leagues have started. The Ambassador Summer Super League started 2 weeks ago, so the second week was last night, and I believe the Crusoe's Black Ball Summer League started at the same time. So we've got the summer season kicked off again. So. As you know, Phil, I probably haven't played in summer for about 25 years now, maybe longer. It's my little respite, if you like, so I try and recharge my batteries, so I'm enthusiastic again to go and play in the main winter season. But I'm still got our Vegas League, and that keeps me interested. The Masters team has been practicing every Monday, so as the team manager, I've been putting time in with them. It's enough to keep me interested without having to play 5 frames on Monday night.
Well, we have had plenty happening here though, John.
Yes, you have, Phil.
Yeah, so when the 10-ball was on, we also had the South Australian 147 title on, which we had a fantastic turnout. It wasn't as strong as the previous year because Mikey and James and Stacey were involved in the 10-ball because the two events clashed. So I think that might have been a luxury for me, I should say, John, because I was fortunate enough to win the 147.
Yes.
So that was a great event. We had 16 players, and you have two different groups.
Hang on, just before you sort of try and put yourself down there a little bit. I heard that you made a couple of really good breaks in the final. One of them was a 90.
No, I had a 90 when I was warming up before I started. But in the final, John, I had 7 frames. I had a 40, 48, 58, 61, and a 63. Which for me, that's
hey, look, that's good for anybody, not just
me.
for you. That's good by anybody's standards. So yeah, don't sell yourself too short there, mate. I know that some of those so-called big guns weren't there, but you were in the sort of form that could have hurt them. So.
In the state final, John, I couldn't make 24. So,
well,
anyway,
neither of you could, though. So it wasn't just a one-sided thing.
So anyway, it was nice to win an event, John, and get back in the winning ways and feeling good. But it was a good event, and Frank Zhao, he was runner-up. He led the entire day. I only overtook him in the second to last frame. When I played him, allowed me to get a win on him and put me back in front, and then I had the 63 in the sliding frame, so I was a bit fortunate there. And in the third spot was John Quinlan.
Okay.
He was last year's state champion, and he didn't hit the form that he normally hits, but he was still super competitive. Competitive, and he played well. But the other event we had on the day was the minor state 147, and that was super competitive. Anyway, they were all equal chance of winning, and a guy that you would know very well, Alan Murphy.
Yes.
You know, he's a snooker player, he's a billiard player, he's a
pool player, card player.
He's probably one of the
rummy specialist.
He's probably one of the original Cuesport players.
Yes, he is too.
Peter Yidich actually told me that's who coached him to play billiards.
All the way back then.
Long time ago. But he got up, he was first. In second place was Tom Arnold, who's one of the locals here, and in third place was Ben Zalco.
Okay.
He's a name that we've been hearing of lately. He's one of the up and coming juniors. So Ben, he was leading with 2 frames to go, and I thought that could be a good result for him, but he just got pipped at the post. So congratulations, Alan, on winning the minor state title, which was fantastic. And then we've got our billiards league. I want to just touch on the billiards.
Look, why not, mate? It's about Cuesports in general, not just about anything specific.
In our billiards league, it's a singles league, John.
Yep.
And they've got Peter Yidich, Craig Hess, Arthur Cronus, Max Renziak, Gary Dunn, Dennis Wignall. So it's 6 players that play this. Every Wednesday they play two matches, 2 1-hour matches. And to have Max Renziak and Peter Yidich in there on the night, you know, there's almost 30 state titles between them. And then you've got Arthur Cronus, the current state champion, Craig Hess, the minor state champion. In the billiards terms, that's as strong as we could get, and it's a good turnout, and they're enthusiasts and they play every week. So after 4 rounds, we've got Peter Yidich on top, Craig Hess in second, Arthur Cronus in third, Max Renziak in fourth, and Gary Dunn and Dennis Wignall, the last 2. And last week, Arthur Cronus had 104 breaks, so showing the form of the current state champion. And Arthur, after all these years, John's still making 100 breaks. And talking about multi-Cuesport players, you know, he plays them all too. So that was fantastic. And talking of century breaks, John, in the week, Tyson played against Ashwin. They were having a practice match, and they played 4 frames. In the first 2 frames, Tyson's had back-to-back 70 breaks, which in anyone's language is very good.
It's frame-winning break 70. Doesn't matter whether you're playing Joe Blow or the world champion. That 70 break wins the frame.
John, the next 2 frames, Tyson has back-to-back centuries. So he had 100 clearance and he had 104. So when you're talking back-to-back centuries, John, that's like talking professional standard.
Well, he did actually compete professionally. So it's good to see that he can still recapture that standard from time to time.
But have 270s and 200s in 4 frames, and like I said, in the final of the state snooker and against Stacey in the Challenger, he struggled a little bit in their finals, but what a quality player, and to make back-to-back centuries, anyone making back-to-back
centuries, that's amazing. That's cool. That's world class.
So it was excellent in the room to have 3 centuries made in the week. And while I'm just talking about that, the centuries this weekend, John, we've got the Australian Ladies Championships, and we've got the Bob Hawke Classic Snooker Championships. So we've got Ray Farley is going over there from Adelaide, competing in the snooker in the men's. Good luck, Ray, with that. Unfortunately, we haven't got any females going over there, so I find they're going to struggle to beat our friend Jessica Woods. She's going to be hard to beat over there. But we do have a referee attending. So Glenn D'Amico, he's refereeing the ladies and the men's. So,
good idea. Well, Glenn's been a student of the game for a number of years.
Yeah.
As you know, Phil never quite reached the dizzying heights that you did. You have and still do play it, but happy to contribute to the game as a referee, and loves it. Dresses appropriately, does everything efficiently, and you know,
I love having him as a referee.
Underappreciated role. You and I know how valuable it is, but some people just think, somebody who's just a ref. No, it's a very important role.
And the other thing about Glenn, and we spoke about Jaden. The D'Amica's are, they've got Jaden, and they've got Dave, Jaden's dad, and Glenn. So the D'Amica family have got a pretty good heritage.
They've got a strong presence in
Cuesport,
South
Australia.
And Glenn's been back playing April the last, I think this is his second or third season back, and he's enjoying it.
Yeah. So anyway, Glenn, good luck to your refereeing over there, and good luck to Ray competing in the Australian Open. We'll be following them results. And overnight, John, on the weekend, I just wanted to touch on World Snooker.
Yep.
Neil Robertson collected another world title. So it's a sport that you and I both love playing, is the doubles, John.
Yep.
So now snooker are playing doubles over there, and it was a mixed doubles. So the top 8 players were paired off with the top 8 lady players, and Neil and Mink, she's a Thai girl. She's the girl that had the first official 147.
Okay.
Phenomenal player.
Obviously.
So Robbo and Ming won the doubles, beating Mark Selby and Rebecca Kenner in the final. So you and I both were playing doubles, and especially Scotch doubles, and now just to see it introduced into snooker, it's...
Well, it's good to see that, because I mean, there was a time when you would have thought that because of the significant difference in the potting skills and break building of the blokes versus the ladies in the past, you think, well, you got to carry the girl. Well, obviously Mick doesn't need to carry. If she can make 147, then I don't know that any other woman's ever made one. It's a bit like the first dunker woman did at basketball, and that was one of our girls. Was it Cambridge? They're like 147. I mean, that's our dream since we were playing, and when are we going to achieve that?
The closest I've got to that is my email address, John.
Yeah, I got to 88. And that's the best I've ever done. And in pursuit of it as a young fella, and I was a handy enough snooker player as a lad, but obviously nothing like that now. But
well, John, I watched some of that doubles, and Mink in the semi, well, they had round robins, but it was effectively a semi-final. She had a 74 clearance to win the frame. That was the highest break made by one of the girls, but it knocked Judd Trump out the event, and it was a fantastic break. So under pressure on TV and doubles, you're not going to the table all the time. She knocked in a 74 clearance, so she's a quality player, and another title for Neil Robinson.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. Well, as you know, we all love Neil. He is the ultimate ambassador to any sport.
Yeah.
We're just fortunate that he represents Australia so proudly, and such a humble guy, great achievement, excellent family man, all of the things that you and I both admire about him. And obviously one of the great things I admire about you, Phil, is how well you've been an excellent family man, still running a business here, you've got a lot on your plate. And to me, I've been fortunate that Marie wouldn't allow me to have children. She realised that one big child was enough. I haven't had to bear the responsibility of that, and probably part of it was because I was too scared to anyway. But I admire all of you guys, and a number of you. James Delahunt is another man, same thing. Excelled at Cuesport, married, built a family, has a small business, still works with youth as a youth worker. All the things that a good human being does. There's just not enough of you and James around the planet.
I think there is, John. There's plenty of them. Plenty of people, kids and playing anyway.
I'm just trying to think what else.
So one more, John.
Yes.
Pocket series this week, the qualifiers.
The qualifiers, yes, they're all going over this weekend. There's going to be a big shootout over there.
So we've got, I think, 5 players from Adelaide. Dave Rothel.
Yep.
Mikey. Ian Hinton.
Daniel Porter.
And Jaden D'Amica.
Hey, look, that's a very strong fight. That's a state team.
Well, I looked at the draw, John, and I'm not sure if they were just randoms, but I did see that Dave Rothel and Mikey were next to each other in the draw, and I did see Daniel and Jaden were close to one another, and Ian, so hopefully it's a redraw. Otherwise, I think that Rothel and Mikey could be playing in the second round. So, but anyway, I'm not too sure. I just seen the draw, and
well, I'll talk to Mikey tomorrow and get a bit of feel for what's happening. which that's a really classy field we're seeing.
Yeah.
And these guys, I know that sort of Mikey, Jaden, the Roth, who was the other one? Daniel and Ian. So they're all current or former state players.
Yeah.
The Roth didn't try out this year, but the other four are all state players this season. And they're all playing great pool.
Yeah.
So I think they will feature.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be surprised if they don't make it into the qualifying stage or the television. One of them doesn't make it into the television stages. And good luck to them.
Well, I think they're as good as anyone. They can compete with the top 8. They're all fantastic players. So,
they're young, keen, hitting the ball really well. I'm looking forward to watching that series.
Yeah, so good luck to all the guys at Pockets this weekend. And John, I've got one more shout out to Dan Leck. I was at Marion Shopping Centre the other day, and he was at his meat counter. So if anyone down south and they're looking for some quality meat, head to Dan Leck at Marion Shopping Centre, because he shouted to me in the when I was walking through and said, "I love seeing you and John on the show." So thanks, Dan. And
all the best, mate. And certainly next time I'm down that way, I may go pick up a couple of ribeyes.
Head to the butchers at Marion Shopping Centre.
Good on you, mate.
Anyway, John, I think that's all. I hope we haven't missed anything.
That's a wrap, I think. I mean, we've done pretty well. We covered a lot of subject matter. Everyone's got a mention, no matter what. Probably billiards, international billiards. We don't get a lot of feedback. Hopefully, Rob can actually do something. We should reach out to him actually to just send us back some info about what's happening on the world billiard scene. Highly underrated game. You and I know how difficult that game is, Phil. And to watch the great players just build massive breaks. You have to be a devotee of the sport to appreciate just how skillful. People watching, oh, that's easy, just play a cannon, then you pop that ball, then pop that, and play a cannon, you pop that ball again, and you play another cannon. It's very hard.
John, I think that's why very little people play it, because they can't master it, and if they come up against someone that can master it, well, they can't beat them. So it's a very tough sport. Anyway, I'll get in touch with Anna and Rob, and I'll have some international billiard information for you. I do know that Peter Gilchrist won the New Zealand Championship.
Okay, yes, okay. Yep, no, well, he's been a regular winner in Australasia, or Oceania, we call ourselves now.
He would be one of Rob Hall's big rivals. So I know he was in New Zealand last week, and I know that he won the New Zealand title.
Okay. No, well, that's good effort then. Phil, always good to catch up, brother.
Pleasure, John, and we'll see you soon.
Yes, cheers.